Hello, everyone. My name is Judy Vandersloos. I'm part of the Global Partner Ecosystem team here at Intuit, and we are hosting today's webinar. On behalf of the Intuit team, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone and thank you for being here. We appreciate your time and your interest in the App Partner Program. And we understand this new program comes with a lot of details, and you likely have some questions. So to help you prepare for the upcoming launch of this program, we're going to start the webinar with an overview of the program. We're going to dive into some key details like benefits and features of the program. Then we're going to move to a Q&A session where you can ask any questions that you have. And to cover a few more mechanics before I hand it over to Robert, I want to thank everybody who submitted questions ahead of time as part of your registration. The Intuit team will address questions you submitted via the Q&A, the Zoom Q&A feature. Take a minute to locate that at the bottom of the toolbar. It has the question mark icon right above it. Our moderator will read out submitted questions, and they'll be directed to the appropriate Intuit team member to address for everyone to hear. You may also receive written answers to your questions. Most of those, or some of those, could be privately answered. Some of those may be shared as well. And as we begin the overview of the program, you can start entering your questions by clicking on that Q&A icon. And if you do have a question that's not about the program or we didn't get a chance to answer it during this webinar, please open a support ticket and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And with that, I will hand it over to Robert Mings.
Well, thank you very much, Judy, and welcome everyone once again. We're super excited for you to join us today and as we talk about the evolution of our platform and ultimately the introduction of our new partner program. And importantly, we really want to focus today's talk on how it can help you build and grow your partnership with Intuit. Now, Judy hinted at a lot of things. I'll reiterate some of those here. We're going to go through a fair bit. We're going to start with talking about our joint opportunity and really why we're introducing this program. We're going to cover all elements of the program itself, including a recap of details that were shared in previous communications, as well as some net new details, such as information on benefits, benefits by tier, new APIs, and some actions that you can actually take today as a first step in the new program. We're also excited to talk about timelines and ultimately get a portion of this really focused on your questions. So we'll have a lengthy period of Q&A. Please start asking your questions and we will get to those as soon as we go. So our North Star is really this. It's aligning our solutions to effectively address and solve customer challenges. We know we are very much better together, and we want to power sustainable partnerships between our two businesses. We really want to help you reach more of our customers at their point of need and hopefully make them your customers too. And at Intuit, small business is very much our core. We have a lot of data and we really understand what the challenges of running a successful small business are, and ultimately what it means to serve this customer and support them as they mature upmarket. You know, lately, more and more apps are being used. We're at a point now where the data shows that the average kind of upper end of a small business, maybe as they get into the mid-market space, they're using roughly 7 to 25 apps just to run their business and have business continuity. So that's quite a lot. Naturally, integrations form a necessary means of really being able to run your business. You see a few other stats here. I'll call out a few. 79% of small businesses really struggle to pay their suppliers on time. Many incur late fees or other levies for missed payments. Over 50% go out of business within the first 5 years, and of those that do, over 80% experience cash flow challenges. So the next thing you might ask is why? Why are we doing this? Why is now the right time? We are very much moving away from an environment where there's not lots of joint planning, where it can be difficult to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. And in the past, partners have also expressed that there has been limited assistance from Intuit from both a marketing perspective, from both a integration and a technical perspective, and really just limited insights into where we're going, what's on our roadmap. We know it's time to do more, and we're really excited to build with you based on an equitable value exchange and clearly defined opportunities for partnership. We really want to do joint business planning with you. We want to improve our tech collaboration and work to streamline development and support. We want to expand our capabilities and features, our APIs, and our documentation. We want to be able to communicate and partner on additional opportunities and early access to new capabilities. A big one is differentiating yourself. How do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace, in our product? And we'll talk a lot more about that as we get to some of the Grow benefits. And finally, also gaining access to marketing support and marketing materials. How do we do event planning and co-marketing? And really, the future is this. It is one platform of connected apps. Again, we know that when we win, when there is harmony, going back to that 7 to 25 kind of app figure, you might imagine your logo kind of at the top here, where a customer could seamlessly interact or interface with both QuickBooks or Intuit Enterprise Suite and your application in kind of one single cohesive environment. And we're listening. In planning this new program, we took a lot of feedback in, a lot of great feedback. We've done a lot of listening, and we hear from our app partners that we ultimately want to work closer together. Can we engage with Intuit to grow our mutual customer base? What can we do to better differentiate our apps in the marketplace? Maybe even extending that to in our product offerings directly. Can Intuit help us drive pipeline, assist us with marketing, assist us with sales? Can we increase the depth of our integration? Can we get access to support and new or specialized APIs? In essence, how do we become a better partner for you and truly help grow your business and our business together? And so with that, we'd like to introduce the new App Partner Program. And it starts with the concept of tiering. So we are going to launch with 4 tiers from Builder at the base through to Silver, Gold, and all the way up to Platinum. As you increase in tier, you get access to more benefits. What we're striving for is really by providing these benefits, you're able to grow and in turn get access to more benefits that help you grow more. It's a continuously increasing cycle where we're both contributing to each other's success. So starting at Builder, this is really what we can consider the default tier. All partners in our ecosystem will start here. You'll receive access to the platform with the default developer toolset, documentation, and core capabilities to get your integration up and running. This is an entirely uncharged tier. And our first paid tier, which is Silver. In this tier, partners will receive an increased level of API credits, which we'll dive into great detail in just a bit here. This is when you also start getting access to premium APIs. It's when the marketing benefits also start to kick in. The next tier, Gold, partners will now receive early access to new features, app badging, so ways to really differentiate your app in the marketplace and the ecosystem. And as well, a dedicated partner team. So everything Intuit, you will have dedicated points of contact to help drive the partnership forward. Our final tier, which is the Platinum tier, you'll receive kind of our highest level of benefits, which will include premium support, increased discoverability and marketing benefits, as well as an expanded partner team to really drive some of those marketing enablement. Now, each tier does carry a set of criteria to become eligible for the tier. Again, in Builder, that one really, the only criteria is just to be on side of our compliance measures, which in this case is the self-attested questionnaire and the acceptance of our terms and conditions. To be able to move into the silver tier, since this is our first paid tier, this is when a payment method will be required, but there are no additional requirements to get into silver. Now, starting at gold, we also have additional requirements, which are primarily around active connections. So we are going to require a minimum level of connection in both the gold and platinum tiers here. We have a full breakdown of what an active connection means in our detailed blog article. We also may have additional criteria. I would say just be on the lookout for our program guide that we'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks. We will have kind of the definitive criteria with all the definitions clearly spelled out in there. So with the requirements in mind, let's chat about the exciting part, which is the benefits. So the benefits of the program are really designed around three core pillars: build, grow, and engage. The first is, how do you build and innovate on our platform? Whether it's a brand new integration or enhancing existing integrations, we want to walk that journey with you. Second is, how do we go to market together? You've built this great integration, you have great product market fit. How do we ensure that there is visibility on both ends and a focus on truly growing the business together? And then third, how do we engage across our teams? How do we build this deep, productive partnership across all of these pillars? Let's start with build. Again, build is very much designed around all things development. We want to catalyze your development journey. We want to make sure that there are the right resources and information in place to build high quality integrations. So some of the new benefits that we are rolling out include a new set of APIs. This is a separate category, which we'll talk about in just a bit. We're calling it Premium APIs. And really, that is providing specialized and really differentiated feature sets. So really driving the expansion of your offering, perhaps an improved customer experience, really facilitating specialized use cases. We'll also be introducing an early access program. So certain tiers will be eligible for getting access to new APIs and other capabilities that we're building, really driving a speed to market and early mover advantage there. One area we know we have not historically done very well in is analytics, and we have really strong commitment to increase that with this program. So we recently launched our first chart, which we will talk about in a bit here. But there is really going to be an increase in the level of data and analytics that are available to you. We really want to drive data-driven decision making here. Finally, of course, we have a set of documentation, tooling, sandbox, and playgrounds available today. We will be enhancing those, especially when it comes to the premium APIs, to make sure that you have everything you need to build high-quality integrations. So here's just how this lines up by tier. So again, core platform across all the tiers here. Premium APIs start becoming available in the silver tier here, and then early access program starts becoming available in the gold tier. So both gold and platinum have access to that. Additionally, for analytics and data platform, we will have longer look back periods as tiers increases, starting at 30 days for builder and going all the way up to 1 year for platinum partners. Next is grow. So really this is designed to just grow your customer base. That is our goal here. And it starts with demand generation. We are investing a lot in marketing to help your app get found, potentially featured, and ultimately adopted. We are also going to add a bunch of new functionality to the app marketplace. One of these is a feature rotator. So our platinum tier partners will be able to get featured in kind of a bigger tile, if you will, and that will drive a lot more demand. We'll also be introducing our Partner Resource Center, which is really all things marketing. It's a centralized marketing portal and platform that gives you access to digital assets, campaigns, analytics, really everything to just grow your pipeline and ultimately grow your customer base. Certain tiers will get access to greater forms of marketing enablement and support. Again, kind of getting more into the custom nature there, just to help you drive those campaigns forward. And also, we're really excited about badging. So we're going to be introducing badging across a few different flavors. We will have badges for you to download as a digital asset for you to use in your marketing and email campaigns, as well as ability to use on your website directly. So you can show that you are an Intuit app partner. We'll also be adding badging to our marketplace. Again, a few different flavors there, just to allow you to differentiate even further. So how does this land in terms of a tier structure? Once again, this really starts at the silver level. Builder, of course, gets access to the core platform, but silver is where we start to really showcase the benefits for growing your app. We will add in kind of everything when it comes to Partner Resource Center, and the digital badge will be available at silver. At gold, we have app badging becoming available. And then at platinum, we have some additional features just to help you get found, discovered, and adopted. Our final pillar is engage. And really, this is designed to deepen our partnership and really, I guess, build and deepen our partnership. It will include account management. So you'll have a dedicated manager and everything, basically an allocated point of contact for everything Intuit. That'll help with joint business planning and reviews and all of that good stuff. We'll also have allocated technical expertise and consultation, kind of forming that second part of your partner team, ability to really help build robust, high quality, efficient integrations, catalyze your development, really evangelize development best practices, just make sure that features are being implemented in a efficient manner. We'll also be introducing premium developer support, so really driving improved resolution of tickets, just getting you through that troubleshooting phase a lot quicker. And we'll also be introducing additional or other partnership opportunities, ways to partner with us outside of just the program itself. So think things like Intuit Connect or our Developer Council, perhaps co-branded and co-marketed webinars, really driving expanded reach, increased brand awareness, and ultimately demand generation. How it looks from a tiering structure is as follows. So premium support becomes available in our platinum tier. Ultimately, anyone silver and above will be eligible for additional partnership opportunities. And the kind of dedicated partner team in the form of account management and technical consulting starts becoming available in the gold tier. So with that in mind, you've seen some of the benefits. And again, I would highly encourage just looking out for an email from us coming soon that talks about the program guide that will go into even more detail about these benefits as well as eligibility. Now we're going to shift focus a little bit to explaining the new fee structure as well as how we are now categorizing API calls and APIs in general. So if you read our initial communication, you will have seen that we are introducing two categories with a third category coming after our initial launch. The first two categories are Core and Core Plus. Core can really be thought of as covering most data-in operations, things like creating or updating invoices, bills, expenses, customers, vendors. These are unmetered and uncharged. So when we talk about the credits in just a sec here, we can kind of re-emphasize that, but these are unmetered and they are uncharged. Some examples of API calls to QuickBooks Online that would be classified as core, creating or updating invoices, bills, or expenses, even beyond transactions, looking at reference or list items like customer records or vendor records. If we shift to Core Plus, this is really covering most data out operations. So think of things like reading accounts or querying company information or fetching reports. These API calls are metered and charges may apply. We'll cover that in just a sec here. Now, some examples of API calls to QuickBooks Online that would be classified as Core Plus: reading or querying invoices, reading or querying bills, expenses, looking and fetching reports, tax rates, and then one nuance here that is important to call out is batch requests. Technically can be used across data in and data out, but this is included in Core Plus. Now we have a full table structure of API entities, HTTP methods, and URI patterns that are available on our Developer Help Center. As well, we do have some of this directly in our portal now, which we will show in just a few slides here. So as part of this evolution, we are also making a fundamental change to our platform with the implementation of platform service fees. And this model is really based on a few different components. The first is a monthly program fee that is flat. The second is API credits. And then the third is variable API fees. So let's talk about the monthly program fee to start. This fee differs per partner tier and unlocks the benefits of that tier, Core Plus API credits, and an API rate card for calls in excess of the included credits. Now, the Builder tier, being a fully uncharged tier, is excluded from the flat program fee. That is a tier that is very much, there's no worry of having to enter a payment method or any fee structure for that. But all the other ones will have at least a monthly program fee. Now, the second component is API credits. API credits really can be thought of as an included allotment is probably the right word of API calls. They are segmented by category, Core and Core Plus. Now, all tiers include an uncapped number of Core API credits, kind of touching on what we just covered in the last slide. Those are uncapped and they are unmetered. But each tier includes a set number of Core Plus API credits. Now, the Builder tier will include 500,000 credits per cycle, and any Core Plus credit or any Core Plus API calls made above the included monthly credit will be blocked. So effectively, a 429 error will be returned if a partner is in the Builder tier and they have made more than 500,000 Core Plus API calls in the cycle. For partners looking to expand their usage and unlock benefits, you may wish to subscribe to our first paid tier, which is Silver. This provides additional credits, so an additional 500,000 for a total of 1 million Core Plus API credits. Rather than blocking any additional calls entirely, any Core Plus calls made above the included monthly credit will be subject to a variable API fee. And that's where that kind of next component starts to come in. These will be metered. They will be charged according to the applicable rate card. Now, this methodology also applies to both the Gold and Platinum tiers, with increasing levels of Core Plus API credits unlocking, as well as improved API rate cards. Now, a few additional points to note here that are important. One, only successful API calls, specifically those returning a 2XX HTTP status code, will be metered. Also, the payment method and relevant billings are going to apply at the developer workspace level. We're going to touch a little bit more on that in just a bit. But ultimately, if you have multiple apps in a workspace, they will be aggregated up to the workspace level. All these calls, all the API credits are aggregated across all production apps in a given workspace. And finally, the variable API fee operates on a tiered volume structure. So API calls are charged at the given rate within the volume tier. We'll touch on an example in just a sec here, but API calls that go beyond one volume tier will be charged at the rate of the next volume tier. So that was a lot. With that in mind, let's go through a few examples to better illustrate how potential billing scenarios could come to play. Let's start with Builder, just kind of to show the methodology here. Of course, the final bill is 0. It's an entirely uncharged tier, but let's work through how the math kind of works out here. Once again, program fee is zero. It's an uncharged tier. You can make as many core API calls as your app needs to, and that will always be charged at zero. In this case, if they made 600,000 core API calls, that would be times zero per 1,000 calls. So it's zero, of course. Now, Core Plus calls, once again, with being the uncharged tier, those are also going to be zero. So in this case, this partner made 450,000 Core Plus API calls. That is also zero for a final bill of 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0. Really just to highlight the point in the methodology as we talk about the next two examples here. Now, again, just to reiterate, if this partner went above 500,000 in the builder tier, those calls would return an HTTP 429 error. So let's talk about a silver example. In this case, this partner is making 1 million core API calls and 800,000 core plus API calls. This is our first paid tier, so there is a flat program fee of $300. The core calls, of course, are always going to result in zero, just kind of showing the math there, just to kind of give a holistic view. And for Core Plus API calls, now we're starting to look at the tiered nature of the rate cards. So the first million is included because of the included API credits. But just to showcase how the math would look is the first 500,000 times the applicable amount, in this case 0, plus the excess in the next tier times the applicable amount equals 0 in this case for a final bill of 300. Now to bring this into kind of a full example, let's work through a gold partner. In this case, they are making 5 million core API calls and 12 million core plus API calls. Now, if you remember on the previous slide, gold includes 10 million core plus API credits. So in this case, variable API fees will apply. The program fee, the flat program fee is 1,700. Core API calls once again result in 0. And Core Plus now we are working through 4 different tiers of the rate card. So the first 500, the next 500,000, the next tier is 9 million. So the first 10 million are included. But now we have an excess of the included API credits. In this case, that excess is 2 million calls. And that would be charged at the applicable rate of $1.40 per 1,000, which gives you a variable API fee of 2,800. The final bill comes to 4,500 after you take into account the program fee. So now we're going to talk about the new APIs that we will be launching, starting with the Projects API. So this is going to really allow you the ability to easily manage the entire project lifecycle, as well as syncing financial transactions into project entities in QuickBooks Online and Intuit Enterprise Suite for that matter. This is a GraphQL API, so it will not be REST-based, and the availability will be across QuickBooks Online Plus, Advanced, QuickBooks Online Accountant, as well as Intuit Enterprise Suite. So it very much marries the feature parity from an offering perspective in the respective offerings. So API category is going to be premium. This will be our first kind of new premium API. And some example use cases that might be facilitated with this API include kind of the full life cycle of creating, reading, updating, and deleting projects. You'll be able to allocate transactions to projects using reference IDs that is across a myriad of different transaction types. Be able to really do end-to-end project tracking and things like completion rate, which is an attribute in the schema. And even going so far as to looking at project profitability. Since we have reference IDs, we can technically pull transactions based on projects and understand what the profitability is. Next is custom fields. So this will ultimately facilitate kind of end-to-end management of custom fields in QuickBooks Online, really with the ability to associate with other entities across a number of different data types. So it isn't just going to be a string. We will have some validation available, such as numbers, strings, lists, dates, and so on. Once again, this will be a GraphQL API. They will have availability across QuickBooks Online Essentials, Plus, Advanced, and Intuit Enterprise Suite. There is a different number of custom fields available in each of those offering levels. So just something to bear in mind there. And once again, the category will be premium. Now, some example use cases here. Again, touching on the life cycle, create, read, update. Instead of delete, it's now disable custom fields. You'll be able to create transactions with these custom fields. And even beyond transactions, you'll also be able to look at some entity level operations. So creating customer and vendor records with these custom fields. Next, we have a sales tax computation API coming out. So this will allow you to really efficiently compute sales tax based on inputs such as location of sale. So this will ultimately seamlessly work with your system to return detailed sales tax rates and amounts. So this won't just show an aggregate, but it will actually break down with great detail what are the different tax rates, the different agencies, and the different amounts based on the inputs that you have sent. Also, GraphQL, also going to be premium, and this one is technically available across all our offering levels. So some example use cases here, computing local sales tax, computing state level sales tax, as well as comparing different tax scenarios, kind of like a what if I sold this many in this place, what would my tax liability be versus this many in this other place? And then finally, payroll compensation API rounds out kind of our fourth new API that we will be launching. Really, this is the ability to read different payroll compensation types, again, ones that are available to employees in the given payroll system. Using this data, you can then write enhanced time entries to QuickBooks Online for streamlined payroll. Feel like a broken record at this point, but it's GraphQL and it also is premium, and it will be available for anyone using QuickBooks Online payroll. So the ability to read compensation types and understand the different IDs that each of those correspond to, and then using those IDs, be able to create time entries with those different compensation types. So everything is allocated to the correct record. So now we're going to touch on some of the new updates that are coming to the developer portal and some of the actions that you can take today in anticipation of our upcoming launch at the end of July. The first is entering your company address. Many have already done this, and for those that haven't, we recommend doing this as soon as possible, just to take your first step towards the launch of the new program. Really, to do this, if you just log into the developer portal, you will see a modal that will appear, effectively prompting you to enter company address. You would just need to choose the correct country and then populate your address, clicking next to save. Now, if you have multiple workspaces, there will be the ability to kind of populate that across all the different workspaces. There will just be a checkbox at the bottom that will save you some time if you do have multiple workspaces. The next is reviewing your API usage. So this was recently rolled out to our entire partner ecosystem. And it looks like what you see kind of on the top right here. It will give you kind of a detailed breakdown into your usage across the two API categories that we have today, which is Core and Core Plus. You'll be able to choose some different time frames as well if you want to get a little more granular, like the last 24 hours, or a little less granular, like the last 7 days or last 30 days, for instance. We also will have the ability to, if you don't want to go to our other article and see what API calls result in Core versus Core Plus, we'll have a little link at the bottom right of the chart where you can, just the one that says about API categories, where you can go and it will launch a little modal that explains what type of calls are ultimately aggregated into which API categories. Now, to access this is at the app level. So you'll need to log into the developer portal, navigate to a workspace. Once you're in the workspace that you'd like to look more into, you need to navigate to a specific app. Then you'll click on Analytics in the left navigation, and then you will view the API usage chart. You'll just have to make sure you are in production, that little toggle bar at the top, and you'll be able to see it on a per app level. Now, a few things coming soon. So those two are actions that you can take today, and we highly recommend logging into the portal and taking those actions. But a few things that are coming soon. We'll be releasing our program guide, as well as a number of updates to our developer portal. So there will be a lot more detailed information available for you to review. Definitely keep an eye out for communication. Upcoming communication for this. We will be sending that via email, and this will be available also directly on our developer portal. We also will have a subscription and billing management interface. So another feature kind of coming soon. In anticipation of our launch, we'll be rolling out this feature ahead of time. So if you wish to subscribe to a tier to avoid any possible disruptions come our launch, again, billing will only start on our launch date. And then finally, we're also bringing an entirely new look and feel to the developer portal with a brand new partner dashboard. So this will be your centralized interface to capitalize on benefits, learn more about the program, and navigate to other important information within the portal. So keep an eye out for that. That will be coming soon. So now we're going to wrap up by just looking through our timelines, our program timelines. So kind of where we're at is, of course, you would have seen the initial communication. We have company address that is ready to go. So please do log into the portal today to take that first action. We also highly recommend viewing your API usage. So log in and look at your various apps and see where it currently stands. Coming in June, we will have the updated terms of service for you to review and ultimately accept. We will also have the program guide, which will be launching soon. It will provide all sorts of detail, all about the key components of the program, requirements, benefits, what it means, how we're thinking about it, and really just how to understand all aspects of the program. You saw a hint to this just a bit ago, but we will have that subscription and payment configuration interface ready ahead of time. And then in July, we'll have early access to the new APIs. So anybody who has already subscribed to the Gold and Platinum tier will be receiving early access. And our GA launch will happen on July 28th. That's when metering will officially start. But once again, we'll emphasize that any variable API fees incurred for usage between our launch date, which is July 28th, and October 31st, will be discounted at 100%. So starting November 1st, the discount will be lifted and variable API fees will apply. Now, program fees will still apply as of July 28th, but variable API fees will only start applying on November 1st. Should also emphasize that the July 28th launch is just for US-based partners. API metering will start later in the year, and ultimately the launch of the program internationally will start later in the year for our non-US based partners after a 30-day advance notification period. So just in summary here, we really share a common purpose and goal. We are transitioning from an environment that lacks a formal partnership framework and structure to one that is very much characterized by equitable value exchange and well-defined opportunities for partnership. So with that, we are Q&A period. I see there's lots of great questions that have been flowing in. I'd also like to introduce a few fellow panelists that will be joining us here. We're here to answer your questions. We'll be joined by William, by Santosh, by Diana, by Chad, and by Anila. So Shweta, please take it away.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everybody, for sending your questions ahead of time to all of us, and for all of the great questions coming in through the Q&A window as well. We will start with some of the questions that you had submitted when you registered, and then we'll move into other questions as well. So, Robert, the first question for you is, why are we introducing this program?
Yeah, thank you for the question. We totally understand this change can be very overwhelming. We are very much here to kind of take this journey with you step by step. We're excited to bring new benefits, but we also understand that we are introducing, platform service fees. But we are confident that these improvements will offer tangible benefits to your business and ultimately help you grow. We're here to chat more. We have lots of support options available to you, and we'd love to chat about how this can ultimately positively impact your business.
Thanks, Robert. Next question I think is for you is, will we offer any discounts or extensions?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll reemphasize kind of what was shared in that program timeline slide. We will be offering 100% discount on any variable API fees incurred between our launch on July 28th or through October 31st. That discount will be lifted, and variable API fees will start applying as of November 1st.
Thank you, Robert. Continuing in the same theme, how do I determine my tier and my estimated monthly costs?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is very much recommend reviewing your API usage. That is something to do first. That's an action you can take today, just to understand what your kind of average usage is. I would then probably look at some of the material we've shared around the structure of the credits and how we are looking at kind of Core Plus API credits. See where you ultimately land with your current usage. And then from there, it's always a good idea to just reassess your architecture, see if there are any optimizations that can be made. If you're close to a tier, but do have some price consciousness there. Of course, we highly recommend optimizing and perhaps getting to a point where you can be under a certain threshold so that variable API fees, for instance, do not apply.
Good. There are a couple of questions coming in about this API usage, Robert, so I'm just going to go over a few of those. So one question is, at what point will we be able to see this usage chart? When is it going to be available for us to see all of the requests that we're making?
Yeah, absolutely. So this should be a quick one. It's available already. So we highly encourage you to log into the developer portal, navigate to a workspace, navigate to an app, and then start viewing it that way. And also, we probably encourage you to play around with that date filter. See what it looks like on both like a 24-hour level and like a weekly level, just to make sure you're accounting for any variability.
Good. And then since when are we showing this API usage chart? From what date is the data available for us to see?
Yeah, absolutely. So officially, the data starts on May 17th. Generally, what you might want to look at more is from like a monthly basis. So I might recommend just looking at it from like the start of June, just so it's a little bit easier to kind of think about your usage and a little bit more of like a systematic approach.
More questions on the API usage chart, Robert. So the question is, can you tell us which API calls we make the most? Because in the dev portal, they can only see the total API calls made, not which ones they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we are a bit aggregated, 100%. I would agree with that comment. If this is something that you do need to see in more detail and more granularity, we recommend you just open a ticket with us, and we can help you get to a bit of a more granular usage pattern, so that can help you influence how you might think about optimizing your integration.
Got it. And another question about this also is, can you tell us if the usage is provided per realm ID?
Yeah, again, great idea. Not today. I think the question behind the question is, how do I know which customers are contributing to the most API usage? Not today, but that is certainly something that we are looking at, and we would like to get to a better level of granularity.
Got it. Thanks, Robert. Is there any way that we can get notified if our monthly utilization is, let's say, more than 80%? And this is for builder tier.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, great idea. Something that we actually do have in mind, and something that we would like to add to the roadmap. So definitely stay tuned there. We are looking at ways to do some sort of alerting mechanism, or be able to set like a threshold. All of those things are currently in discussion.
Thanks. Um, all right, so let's move on. So there are some questions around marketing benefits. So I'll actually ask this question to Anila. What marketing benefits does the program provide?
So can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Great. By the way, that was great presentation, Robert. Thank you so much. And I know you went in details on some of the benefits. There is a whole line list of benefits that we have, but if I were to talk on major benefits, we have a partner resource center that we are opening it up for silver and above that has a lot of curated, approved assets and campaigns. So basically, we're including them as part of the benefit where you can download them. You can also use the PRC to send out your campaigns. That includes templates that you can customize. The whole goal was to how do we create this messaging that you can highlight the better together story on the core value proposition, right? We also have a marketing academy. So if you have new um, resources that you're bringing onto your team, or if there's a marketing person on your team, you can put them through the marketing academy, which helps them really build a core value proposition. That's your master document to kind of build all the other rest of the campaigns. So it's really beneficial. It is on the Partner Resource Center also. The one thing that we really wanted to focus on is customization, because we want to highlight what's your superpower and how does that really integrate with QBO. So that was one of the things that we put in place. Based on the benefits, it's all going to be documented on the the program guide. So there'll be information in there too.
Thanks, Anila. There's one question, and I was wondering if you can go in a little bit into what kind of benefits will we provide under the platinum tier for marketing?
So Platinum gets a lot of enhanced stuff. So for example, I'm giving you some examples because there's a long list of them. Value proposition. We will work with you with a marketing manager based on the need that's there, and really build out a strategy. We will talk with you on a strategic basis on what your goals are with QuickBooks, build out a whole yearly campaign and timeline that, and then really talk about what are your messaging, what's your ICP, the ideal customer profile, how do we develop a value proposition which is going to be led through an agency. So those are some of the things, Shweta, that we have. Additionally, we have benefits that we can pull you guys into some events, some strategic, conversations, also highlighting the app marketplace that Robert mentioned. So there's a long list of those things, right? So if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to sit with you and describe and go over them on detail.
Thanks, Anila. There are a couple of questions, Robert, around the premium APIs. I might pose a couple of them to Diana, and then we can kind of switch between you and her. So Diana, the questions about premium APIs is which tier will have access to the premium API category?
Yeah, sure. So early access would start with gold and platinum partners. So those partners will get early access to some of these new APIs. But then once we go GA a few months later, and the remaining partners will have access to the new APIs.
Got it. Then there's also a specific question about the payroll compensation API. The question says, will we be able to read transactions created by Intuit Payroll?
Read transactions specifically, I'll need more details, but the payroll compensation API will work for customers of yours who are on QuickBooks Payroll.
Thanks.
And that can be used in conjunction with the time APIs to capture time activity.
There's also a question, Diana, about is the REST-based API being phased out?
That's a good question. Not yet. The only nuance is that our newer internally we GraphQL is the tech stack that we use. So any new APIs that will roll out in the future will be on GraphQL. At least for the near term, you'll sort of have both the REST and Graph working hand in hand. So a lot of your integration with the new APIs, you'll have to do it in a hybrid model where you'll probably read some data using our GraphQL and then use that with our REST. So long way of saying no, it is not getting phased out, but you'll see a lot more of GraphQL APIs coming in the future.
Kind of in a similar veins around the compensation, but the question says that in QuickBooks Desktop, we are able to import time data, including variable pay rates. We are now attempting to do that through accounting API. Is this possible, and can this be done while on the builder tier?
All right. I think the new payroll compensation API will allow that. In the builder tier, you won't have early access, but once we go GA with the API, you'll be able to get access to that.
Got it. Thank you, Diana. There are probably some more questions, but let me go back. All right, Robert, maybe this you can try to clarify this one. So this question says, will there be an increase in API rate limit for higher tiers? And this one specifically talks about the thresholds that we have or for throttling errors. So the question is, will we get an improved rate limit per minute or per second given a higher tier? Can you share some light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer that. At launch, no. So those rate limits will be the same, which is the second concurrency one, as well as the 500 requests per minute one. Those will remain the same. However, it is something that we are exploring. So stay tuned. We might have something in the future.
Got it. And then a couple of questions around this, which is, do we need silver or above for each app in the workplace to be listed on the App Store?
No. So for silver, all you need is the acceptance of the terms and conditions, as well as an approved self-assessment questionnaire, and just entering a payment method. There are no additional criteria for subscribing to the silver tier.
Got it. There's a question that asks, is there going to be any disruption to the existing integrations or existing apps?
Yeah, so I would say this is once again, encourage you to view your API usage with our new chart and see where your apps are currently landing. If you are over that 500,000 core plus API calls per cycle, in this case, let's say it's per month, then we would strongly encourage you to either consider subscribing to the silver tier or optimize. Because once we do launch on July 28th, you will be blocked above 500,000 core plus API calls if you are in the builder tier, but not if you are in any of the other tiers. However, charges may apply if you go above the API credits.
Thanks. More on the builder tier. So can we use the partner dashboard if we opt to sign up for the builder tier? I think this is the dashboard that you kind of previewed in your presentation.
Yeah. So you'll have a trimmed down view, I guess I would say. It will just have a couple widgets there. But really, once you start getting into the silver and even the gold tier, you start to unlock more of the widgets and the ability to like download badges and whatnot, which is not available in the builder tier. So I guess the short answer is you'll get kind of a preview of it, but not really until you get to the higher tiers.
Got it. And kind of in the same theme, Robert, is how easy will it be to switch from example builder to tier? So can I do this in the middle of the month when we realize that we want to use the benefit of the higher tier?
Yeah, absolutely. So you are free to upgrade or to either subscribe to the builder tier or put in a request to upgrade to the higher tiers at any point, even if it is during kind of a mid-month cycle or a mid-billing cycle. Effectively, just you can't toggle up and down. Like we will have some rules around, say, going up and then canceling, and then going up and cancel, or going up and downgrading, upgrade, downgrading. But you are free to upgrade at any point during any cycle.
All right, another question that I see a couple of times is, are webhooks going to be metered at any point or considered premium?
Yeah, so webhooks are completely unmetered. They are not considered premium. If in response to you processing that webhook, you decide to make an API call that resolves to Core Plus, then that would be metered. But few ways around that. Obviously, you can look at queuing and doing batch jobs, or looking at doing maybe queries instead of read calls. So effectively, calls themselves, yes, if they result to Core Plus, but the webhooks are completely unmetered.
More questions on the API credits. So how are credits metered if calls are pulling in multiple records per call? So for example, if one call can get 750 records, are they metered by call or by number of records called?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's by call. So of course we recommend looking at ways to leverage things like batch or query endpoints so that you can return multiple records. But all of those, if one query results in one record versus one query call resulting in 750 records, those both would still count just as one single call towards Core Plus. It wouldn't count as 1 versus 750, for instance.
Got it. Thank you. I'm seeing a few flavors of this kind of question. Let me try to ask this to combine a few. But it says that we have an integration between our application and QuickBooks, but our customers use their own credentials to access their own workspaces and get information. So are we subject to the API fees?
Yeah. This is definitely one that we've been receiving. To maintain a fair and equitable program, obviously we have to make sure that everybody is treated equally here. So we won't have necessarily any sort of exception here. Each workspace will be subject to the program and the requirements and the fees if you choose to go into one of the higher tiers. If you the question was worded as, we have an integration between our application and QuickBooks, but customers use their own credentials. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So in that, we probably highly recommend reassessing architecture. Does it make sense if you're like a systems integrator or like a no-code development platform? It might make sense to think about a future state of bringing all that together under one set of API keys. Maybe it doesn't, but we probably recommend reassessing at least now. Now is a pretty good time to do that. Either you keep it disparate where each customer has their own set of keys, in which case, yes, they would be subject to it, or you decide to kind of aggregate together under one set of API keys, in which case, again, also subject to it, but might make more economical sense to do it that way.
Mhm. Kind of in a similar vein, but maybe they're slightly different. The questions that I'm seeing are, we provide an app that the customer runs on their own computer. So we don't make API calls from our servers or computers. So there's no way for us to audit reports and bill each customer appropriately. Any thoughts or comments about that, Robert?
Yeah, so I would say it sounds like to me that the customer is the owner of the workspace. In which case, again, kind of similar answer as before, which is everyone would be kind of treated equally here. So I would say perhaps a good option here is to sending some sort of announcement to your customers saying, we recommend you review your API usage. Could even leverage some of the content that we have provided in this presentation, and just to see where they stand. Most from our analysis, most of these situations where it's just like a single QuickBooks file or a single customer, if you will, most of the usage patterns are relatively low. So it's probably fine to just stay in one of the lower tiers. But again, we highly recommend getting them to review API usage.
Got it. There are a couple more marketing questions, Anila. So, all right. So a couple of questions that are asking that what are the on-demand generation benefits that we are providing? Can you talk about that?
So one of our biggest levers is going to be our app marketplace, and we're really putting some investment in that to push overall traffic to the app marketplace. So that's our first goal, is how do we increase the demand and the visits to that site, right? That's one thing. The other thing is that we're also creating some targeted campaigns that would be potential for, and this is phase 2, but we're still working towards that, is verticalizing some of the messaging, putting them in cohorts, and then really looking at how we're highlighting some of the benefits that our partners have. So there's a whole plan that is being made. The phase 1 is going to be really getting the traffic to the app marketplace, and that's a lot of investment in itself. So we're working with agencies to drive that. We're also having conversations with our internal team on how we can build that into the bigger Intuit marketing fold, like putting us in QuickBooks.com and really having a specific dedicated page for our partners as well.
Thank you. And on the same lines, we talked about the benefits for Platinum tier some time back, Anila. The question here is about what benefits are there to Gold on top of the API limit increase? On marketing, beyond just like the Gold sticker on the listing, what else can you tell us about the Gold benefits for marketing?
Sure. So the benefits for our Gold is the Partner Resource Center. The Partner Resource Center is very enriched with robust assets, templates, anything that you can think of to run a campaign, you have it all on there. It includes our brand guideline. Also, it has logos. So if you are missing a marketing team or an agency, you can actually go on the PRC and run a programmatic effort to create your demand. It also has a dashboard. When you send out emails, you can get a dashboard to see how many you sent, what is how many opened your email. So all of those is very functional that we have it on the Partner Resource Center. Keep in mind that we are not privy to that information. Only the partner who has signed up for it has all the PII. We do not have that information. All we have is partner A, B, and C send out 1,000 emails, and that was it, right? The rest of the stuff is all under your dashboard. So it's very end-to-end seamless dashboard that the silver partners can use and gold partners can use to kind of run their whole programmatic campaigns. You also can download the templates and messaging and create your own and send it out through your CRM system as well. So it's all approved through legal and brand.
Thank you. There's a question from somebody that says that they are a QuickBooks solution provider. So will the market resource center, the marketing resource center that you just spoke about, will it be different than what we get with the QSP channel?
Absolutely. And the biggest difference is that the QSP program is a service-based program where we're adding on functionality and services, whereas the developer program is really building the integration value, right? So the messaging is different than what we have on the QSP.
Thank you. And then do we have a GA date for when these new APIs will be available as yet?
We don't yet, but we're hoping like once we have a few early adopters, once we open it up for a few partners, gold and platinum partners later in July, and based on feedback, hopefully all positive and not much improvements needed, we'll soon go GA a few months later.
Got it. And then this is a question either for Diana or probably for Robert, which is, will these premium APIs be metered and charged? What is the plan for the new APIs?
Yeah, I can take a stab at that one. At launch, they will not be. So as we roll them out to early access, no. As we kind of think about launching them, no. But in the future, we will have a commercial model around them for sure. Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, Diana, back to you. But the question is, how do we get early access to the payroll compensation API? What's the early access, or how do people apply for early access to the new APIs?
Yeah, so Rob had shared, and it's also available publicly, the tiering qualifying criteria. So we will internally look at all apps that can potentially fall under the gold or platinum tiers. And we will be sending out emails to eligible partners who potentially would fall under gold and platinum tiers, and provide details on how you can sign up for early access. So expect that email to come around the first week of July.
Perfect. Thank you. Arapa, this one is probably for you. How frequently will the Core Plus API rate card tiers and price points be reviewed or changed by Intuit?
Yeah, it's a very fair question. As of now, they won't be. We don't have a definitive schedule, but very much whatever we launch with will be for some time. That's probably the best we can say right now. But for sure, it's not something that we will be looking to change all the time or modulating or any of that. So.
Got it. Is it mandatory or optional to move from silver to gold when a workspace has more than 500 active connections?
It's completely optional. So all our tiers are completely opt-in and subscribe. You will never be forced into any tier. Again, the only nuance is just in the builder tier, there is an upper limit of API calls, which is 500,000 for Core Plus. But outside of that, you are free to kind of upgrade if you wish.
Got it. There are a couple more feedback points around making the API usage chart, kind of extending that to show them the number of calls per customer. I wonder if you could just kind of address one of these questions about that, which is how about Intuit directly charging the customers who are using APIs? So the customers who are using more API calls would pay directly. Could you share some thoughts around that?
Sure, yeah. It's certainly something that was considered. I would say for now, it's great feedback and definitely something that we want to look at in the future. We are committed to increasing analytics and the depth of detail in some of these charts and really turning it into a full suite, if you will. So we'll definitely be taking that feedback back.
This is a good use case here. So one of our attendees says that they are creating an internal solution for their finance team to utilize the API to bring in information from one system and send data send data downstream from the API. They say the biggest hurdle has been the validation steps to gain live API access to prod QuickBooks. Will there be any changes to getting access to the live API? This is an internal product. It's not going to be something that they're going to list on the marketplace. So are we introducing any changes to our go live checklist?
So for now, no. We will still have those compliance measures in there, including acceptance of the terms and conditions and the self-attested questionnaire. Both of those will remain, and our current publishing requirements will also be in place.
Thank you. So one of the benefits that you mentioned, Robert, one of the slides was about how much analytics we will be providing to different tiers. So the question says that, so the analytics/data look back periods, is that for QBO data or for our app analytics? Can you maybe explain a little more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very much aggregated for your app. So your app is making X number of core calls and Y number of core plus calls, and of course that is across all your different QBO connections or Intuit Enterprise Suite connections that you have today. Again, there was a number of points raised about taking that granularity a little bit lower. That's definitely something that we will definitely be exploring, but it is across your app, across all the connections that your app has.
Got it. There are some questions from non-US app partners. So let's kind of look into a couple of those. So the question says, can non-US app partners sign up early for the program?
Yeah, so right now, no. We have again have to just make it fair and equitable for all. But we will be giving advance notice here, and highly encourage that when we do give that advance notice, we will almost certainly have the ability to do some actions ahead of time, just before we do launch. So definitely encourage keeping an eye out for that.
Got it. Kind of in the similar veins, we are Canadian based. However, our app is listed on the US App Store. How does the program impact us and when?
Sure. Yeah. So everything ultimately boils down to where your business is located. So regardless of which marketplaces your app is listed on or regardless of which QuickBooks Online regions or versions that your customers are connected to, that is really outside of it. It really just is where is your business located? Where are you doing business? So if you're doing business in the US, you would put US and your US address. If you are doing business in Canada, you would put the Canada address, but that would be completely nothing to do with where your customers are located and which app marketplace regions you are listed on.
A question again on the core API and core plus API usage. So core API calls, as we know, covers most of the data in operations, which and they're unmetered and uncharged. So the question is, will there be considerations for excluding core plus API calls, which simply get the current record before updating it in the spirit of updating as a core API call?
Yeah, no, it's a very fair question. At this time, no. At this time, just any API calls that resolve to Core Plus according to our charts will be metered the same way as a call that would just be extracting data. Again, please continue sending in feedback, and this is something that we will continue to reassess.
Okay, so even if this person was trying to may make a call just to simply get the sync token value, for example, for the to make an update call, you would still consider a core API or a core plus API just based on the type of call, right?
Correct. Yes. And here's where we also recommend making use of some of our I guess more optimized endpoints like change data capture or implementing things like batching or queries or again even listening to webhooks, right? All of these different capabilities can really help optimize an integration so that you're not calling excessively, you're only calling when you absolutely need to.
Got it. Can you explain a little bit about the minimum active connections? The question says, so my app's core plus API calls fit into the platinum level, but when I look at our connections, we seem to be very low, under the gold level minimum requirement. So can you kind of explain what the requirement for minimum active connections is and how that falls into the different tiers?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I'll kind of explain about connections, then let's talk about usage patterns. So how we define a connection is a customer that is connected to your application. So they have a non-expired connection. In other words, you have a live token, a non-expired token. And additionally, that customer is also an active subscriber to QuickBooks or Intuit Enterprise Suite. So that is the definition. If your customer fits both of those criteria, we consider it an active connection. And so we would aggregate all of those across your apps under a workspace. And then if that number is above 500 for gold, 500 or greater for gold, or 3,000 or greater for platinum, then you have achieved the eligibility for that tier. Now, when it comes to usage patterns, again, if you have very low number of connections, but very high API usage, we strongly recommend looking at optimizing. There is a lot of sometimes some very small, dare I say, small changes that someone can make to dramatically reduce their API call volumes. We will actually be hosting a series of office hours on this topic specifically. So we will be talking about all sorts of optimization techniques and things that you can do to kind of really look at your architecture and reassess your integration patterns just to make sure that you are under under certain thresholds. Take a look at our Intuit developer help site. We have a list of dates for upcoming office hours. Definitely recommend tuning into one of those.
Great. Some questions here around workspaces and apps. So if I have more than one app, does each app require to be silver in order to be listed on the App Store? Or is that also aggregated and all apps can be listed?
Yes, sorry. Can you repeat that last part just once more?
Yeah, so if I have more than one app, does each app require to be silver in order to be listed on the App Store? Or is it also aggregated and all apps can be listed?
Got it. So everything is ultimately at the workspace level. So let's give an example here. Let's say that you're a partner that has, let's say, 3 applications, and all of those fall under one kind of parent workspace. If you have decided to subscribe to the silver tier to unlock access to the marketplace, then all of your apps within that workspace would be eligible to list on the marketplace. There would not be an obligation, but all of them now have the ability to list on the marketplace.
Got it. All right. If a company has more than one partnership or a workspace due to a merger, will they be forced to consolidate workspaces for the purposes of getting on the same tier?
Yeah, absolutely. So you won't be forced. All of this is very much opt-in. I would say have a look at your API usage. It sometimes makes sense to keep them separate. Sometimes it might make the opposite sense. But for sure, you will not be forced, and you can continue with your current structure should you wish to do that.
Sounds good. All right. So this question says, will the unused monthly credits carry over to the next month?
Yeah, the answer is no. So everything will be related to your cycle. So let me give a little more detail there because I think it's important. When we say cycle, we mean billing cycle. So silver, gold, and platinum. Your billing cycle is determined by when you first subscribe to a tier. So if you subscribed on, say, the 10th of July, your billing cycle is from the 10th, basically. And your credits will reset every 10th of the month or every billing cycle of the upcoming months. For the builder tier, since the concept of a billing cycle does not exist, at launch, builders will have their API credits reset on a calendar month basis. But nothing will roll over. It will just be in that given cycle.
Sounds good. And since you talked about cycles, let me kind of ask this other question too. Can you tell us about when the billing cycle starts and from when the program launches? Is the first cycle July 28 and the second is in August? Or is it monthly? How does that work? Can you just go over that again, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to open the billing and subscription interface ahead of our launch, just to allow you to kind of get ready, but no bills will happen until we officially launch. So let's take an example scenario here where a partner has subscribed to the silver tier on, let's say, July 10th. So on July 28th, you will have kind of the first program fee coming out that will effectively be prorated. So to be prorated based on your billing cycle. So everything just depends on when you effectively subscribe to a tier. That is your billing cycle. The first one will, of course, be prorated, and beyond that, it will just be your billing cycle moving forward.
Got it. All right. Thank you. All right, this is a question. If you have one app and make less than 500,000 API calls, but you have more than 500 customers, can you still be in the builder tier?
So you have more than 500 customers, and can we repeat the first part?
Yeah. So you have less than 500,000 API calls per month, but you have more than 500 customers. Can you still be in builder?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you again, we won't force anyone into any tier. You are free to kind of subscribe to a given tier. I think in general, at that level though, you may want to ask yourself, like, does it make sense for me to try and grow quite a bit? And if that is the case, of course, you may want to look at either our silver or gold tier, because you, of course, would be eligible for either of those at that point. But you won't be forced into a given tier.
Thank you. Question again around benefits. Can the builder level still raise a support ticket at developer portal to get support, or will we have to raise at the community support forum?
Yeah, so this is a change, another fundamental change that we are making. For builders, it will be the community support forums. There is a lot of great information that a lot of peers have already asked. It'll be documentation, and then to really unlock access to developer support, it will be silver. And then premium support will be available in our platinum tier.
Another question around discounts, Robert, and maybe and I think you covered it previously, but the question is specifically this: if we use QuickBooks API calls as a registered charity and we exceed the builder tier, will there be a discount available to us?
Yeah, so right now, no, but it is definitely something that we will be looking at. But the answer for right now, everything will kind of just be a level playing field. So either the option would be to either optimize that integration, and again, please, do chat with us. We're here to kind of help in these situations. But either optimize down to under the Builder API credits for Core Plus, or if you can, subscribe to the silver tier.
Got it. All right. It was mentioned earlier, and this probably is a question for Anila also. It was mentioned earlier that a future feature is the ability for us as a partner to surface our solution directly in the QBO app. Can you expand on what that feature may look like?
Robert, you want to take that?
Sure, yeah, I can touch on it, and then Anila, if you have anything to add, please do. I'll answer it in two ways. First, today we have the app marketplace, which comes in two flavors. We have the web version of the app marketplace, which is accessible publicly. We also have the embedded version of the app marketplace that lives within our kind of core products today. So QuickBooks Online and Intuit Enterprise Suite. So that's one way you will be you will be kind of featured in product. Again, if you are in some of our higher tiers, you will also have badging available, so that will be a nice differentiator for you there. But the other answer to this question is kind of that snazzy screen we showed, which is there was like a carousel at the top and some kind of other logos there. That is very much the future of our platform. So that is not a now thing, but in the future, we are really building and kind of unifying the vision of one platform of connected apps with kind of really good harmony for the end customer.
And I'll add to that, Robert, from a marketing perspective. So when we were talking about all up traffic, that would be the customer-facing version of the app marketplace. And our embedding one is very going to be the targeted campaigns that are going directly to that. Again, the future of our platform is AI driven. So that is something that Robert had flashed on the presentation, and that's something to be determined on how we need to drive demand. But our goal is to highlight our partners and what their specialty is and how we value the integration with QuickBooks.
Got it. All right. Will Gold and Platinum partners have access to an API feature request tool, or vote or get more weightage when voting on requested improvements?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is another area where we know we haven't done a great job in the past, but there is really strong commitment moving forward with this program. So one thing we actually want to do is we want to do even a step better than that, is actually start having roundtables and other events that are centered around developers, but also product managers. And we want to really work jointly together and give you access to our roadmap and give you access and ability to really tell us what you want to see built. So there will be that for sure.
Got it. There's also a question here about, are you able to give us more specifics for the Gold and Platinum tier under account management? Can you talk about that a little, Robert?
Yeah, and actually, if you wouldn't mind, I think we have a gentleman here who would be able to provide a better answer. Chad, can we actually get your thoughts on that question?
And I can repeat the question for you, Chad. The question is, are you able to give us more specifics for the Gold and Platinum tiers under account management? what does account management benefits look like?
Yeah, definitely. So the benefits when you're looking at account management is going to be having a direct resource inside Intuit to help with all the nuances of marketing resources and partner resources with the build and the grow and access to the teams as you're working with. So that's that added resource. That's something that we're adding on, not just a support ticket, where you're going to have a direct assignment and a direct team that will be working with you ongoing in regards to all aspects of the application in the QuickBooks ecosystem.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
think that helps. All right. Back to questions around usage on API calls, Robert. The developer says we have three environments, dev, staging, and production. Our staging app is often connected to real companies and uses a bit of API calls. It is not publicly listed, but may exceed the 500K API calls per month. Do we pay additional for our staging environment?
Yeah, so if it's hitting our sandbox environment, then the answer is no. So calls to our sandbox environment are uncapped, and they are not metered. Only calls in production will be metered. So if it's connected to production, probably highly recommend considering to use our sandbox environment instead for your testing and dev efforts. If it is already connected to sandbox, you're good to go. Those calls will not be metered.
Thank you. Let's say a QuickBooks customer simply wants to bring their project's data into Salesforce. So it sounds like a sort of like an internal solution that they're trying to build. Would that require moving to a $300 per month tier just to access the project's API? Or is there any flexibility or lighter option for such limited integration needs?
Yeah. So right now, premium APIs are going to be available silver and above. So again, some of this detail is getting worked out for some of the new APIs. So definitely stay tuned there. But as of right now, premium APIs would be available from silver and above. So if they did get classified that way, then yes, you would require a silver subscription.
Got it. And then more kind of on the tiers is for some apps, the current tiered rate cards can result in very non-linear cost basis curve as active connections can increase. So is it possible to access the gold tier rate card by paying that tier's monthly program fee without the extra benefits when a workspace has less than the 500 minimum active connections?
Yeah, definitely understand the kind of nuance there. In an effort to really strive to maintain a fair and equitable program, we won't be giving exemptions for criteria. But again, feel free to chat further with us here. We'd like to see how we can get you to that 500 connection point, and maybe because variable API fees are going to be discounted for between July 28th and October 31st, perhaps the answer here is to consider subscribing to our silver tier to gain access to some of those marketing benefits like the Partner Resource Center. Use that to build some additional campaigns to get you to that 500 connection count before the variable API discounts do come off on November 1st.
Got it. Thank you. We're seeing a lot of similar questions come up again. What are the criteria for subscribing to the Platinum program? Maybe you can just do a quick refresher, Robert, on just the criteria for different tiers, if you could, because there are a couple of repeated questions around the different criteria.
Yeah, happy to. So in Builder, there is really no criteria outside of our compliance measures. So that would be the self-attested questionnaire and acceptance of our terms and conditions. To go into Silver, the only additional criteria becomes entering a payment method. So not really a criteria as much as just an action to take. And then in Gold, we now have two additional criteria, which is a minimum of 500 active connections. Again, across all the apps in a workspace. So if you do have multiple apps, those would be counted together. Those would be summed together to meet that criteria, as long as they are production connections, of course. And then we also will have a app marketplace listing requirement for one of your apps in the workspace. Then on Platinum, same requirement, but the only change here is active connections. Instead of 500, the minimum is 3,000.
Thank you for that. There's a question again around the why, which I know we covered initially, but another kind of a specific question is Intuit making these changes because they want more integrations that work for all subscriptions, for all types of QuickBooks subscriptions, or generic, or do we want to showcase fewer industry-specific integrations?
Yeah, so I mean, I would answer in a couple ways. I would say we want to foster a really productive ecosystem where any customer, regardless of their problems that they're facing, and at their point of need, there is a solution available to them. And we very much take the stance that it's harmony between our platform and our partners. And bringing those together, bringing those app stacks together is really what can facilitate great customer solutions, great customer experience, and hopefully a fruitful partnership between us two. So I would say we want to foster a great ecosystem. If that means more apps, excellent. If that means more apps with specialized use cases for vertical specific, to facilitate vertical specific use cases, also excellent. Yeah.
Got it. There are some very specific use cases that we're seeing the Q&A as well about how the app is set up. For those, I would suggest that you create a support ticket because we can kind of answer those one-on-one. Those are very specific to how your business is set up. But a couple more generic questions that I have pending, Robert, and then we can see. Is the custom fields API a core or a core plus API, or is it a premium API? Can you again kind of go over that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, first thing is stay tuned. This is relatively new information. Some of this stuff is subject to change. But as of right now, it would be labeled as a premium, given its specialized functionality. But do stay tuned, and we will certainly send updates as we kind of get more to that early access phase and general availability.
Is there a requirement or mandate that organizations must publish at least one app to the marketplace?
Yeah, so this is just required for the gold and platinum tiers. Again, do stay tuned for our program guide where we will have kind of the definitive criteria here with a lot of detail. As of right now, the requirement would be one app. At least one app in your workspace that would be listed on our marketplace. If you would like to subscribe to the gold or platinum tier.
Got it. And then, all right. Can you share any benchmark data around average monthly API calls per connection across all apps on the platform?
Yeah, so some of the stuff obviously we can't necessarily publicize. What we can say is that an overwhelming majority of all apps in our ecosystem fall under even our limits in the builder tier. So we are very much doing this to drive and strengthen partnerships, really in the form of benefits and win-win scenarios. But in general, an overwhelming majority of all apps in our ecosystem are falling under the credits we have defined in the builder tier.
Sounds good. There are a few questions around office hours. You mentioned, I think, our API optimization office hours as well. Just a general guideline to everybody on the call is that information about upcoming office hours will be available on our help site. We have a section down there that gives you the sign-up links for our next webinar and for any other upcoming office hours. That section will be updated as and when we schedule more of these events. So do keep an eye out on that. And you know what? I think with that, we've kind of covered most of the questions, Robert. A lot of
Okay.
questions and things that we have answered, in different forms already. For those of you whose questions were not answered, I think you can open up a support ticket. Robert, I think I will give you one last question from my end, which is, what are the next things that developers must do to get ready for this program?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, log into the developer portal and really enter your company address, start looking at your API usage, and very soon download our program guide and just really absorb a lot of information about what we're ultimately going to be launching here. I would also say just stay tuned to our communications. We are going to be releasing lots of new stuff until we get to our launch date, and we'll be providing lots of additional information. Attend the office hours if you can. If you're interested in optimization, that is also going to be a great next step. And if you need additional help, we are very much here. Again, we'll underscore that we are here to kind of take the journey with you. So if you need support, please do reach out. We are here. And thank you very much for attending. Judy, do you want to end us off for today?
Yeah, thanks, Rob, and thanks, everybody. Rob touched on most of all the things I was going to also touch on. I suppose one or two extra things to make sure you're aware of is that we will be making this webinar available on our Intuit Developer YouTube channel, so you can replay it, share it with others who weren't able to join. We have an upcoming webinar. We are still accepting registrations for on June 17. That's early next week. And stay tuned, yeah, for more updates about the program. And there are a couple things you can do that Rob just touched on. So thank you once again for your participation and your continued partnership, and have a great day.